السلام عليكم grade 7 A و B. كيفكن؟ معكم مس سارة. I miss you so much. بتمنى تكونوا بخير وبسلامة، عم تنتبهوا على حالكم منيح وعلى سلامتكم، وإن شاء الله بنشوف وجهكم على خير وبنشوف بعض هيك face to face إن شاء الله بالصف. إن شاء الله نوينا من اليوم نبلش أول ستيب لحتى نقدر نكمل الشيء اللي بلشنا فيه، لحتى نقدر شوي نحقق أهداف بهيدي الفترة. تمام. أنا رح أرجع لدرس الانجلز اند لاينز، رح نبلش فيه من أول وجديد لحتى نقدر نتذكر كل شيء لنبلش نحل بالإكسرسايزز وذن بالبروبلمز. Okay, so our lesson is about angles and lines. It is lesson 7 and you can find the exercises on page 81. Now if we have any two lines cut by a secant, and then I will get alternate and corresponding angles. Any two lines xy and uv are cut by a secant z T, I will get the shapes which are alternate and corresponding angles. Alternate angles such that, like this one, A3 and B1, like this one, Z shape, A4 and B2. Corresponding angles having F shape, like this one, F shape, A3 and B3, another F shape like the 7 shape, A4 and B4, and I have a lot of corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are angles having F shape or similar to the F shape, because it could be opposite to the F shape, and alternate angles are also similar to Z shape. So let's start with the properties. Property number 1. If I have two lines are parallel, like XY and UV, and cut by a secant ZT, or I can tell about ZT, a transversal line, then the corresponding angles are equal and the alternate angles are equal. So I must have parallel lines to get equal alternate or equal corresponding angles. I use this property to calculate angles. Let's take an example similar to the previous slide. I have alternate angles A3 and B1. In this case, the alternate angles are equal. A3 is equal to B1 and A4 is equal to B2, similarly to the corresponding angles. Let's take one more property, that the adjacent interior angles, on the same side, they are adjacent interior angles that are found inside or between the two parallel lines, must be supplementary. Don't forget, supplementary angles are the angles that add up to 180 degrees. So if I look at the figure, I will notice that A3 and B2 are adjacent interior angles, so their sum must be equal to 180 degrees. So A3 plus B2 equal to 180 degrees, and A4 plus B1 is equal to 180 degrees. Let's take some examples on the alternate angles so I can recognize the shapes. This is two parallel lines cut by a transversal line, or I can say a secant line. I will get, this is the first alternate angles, they are equal. This is the second alternate angles. Now, an application. Which angle is alternate to 130? Alternate. These two lines are parallel, then the alternate angles are equal. Alternate angles have Z shape. So, this one, Z shape, so A should be equal to 130 degree. Another example, this one, which angle is alternate to 60? Search for the Z shape, so C is equal to 60. Look, okay, this is Z shape. Okay, now some example on the equal corresponding angles. First, I have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. I will get a lot of corresponding angles. The first one, F shape. Notice that the two angles are below the parallel lines. Okay, they must be like each other below the parallel lines. The other one, okay, the opposite. Notice that here the corresponding angles are above the parallel lines, okay, because the F shape is opposite, upside down. The last one, this also equal corresponding angles. Let's take an application. Which angle is corresponding to 125? Here are parallel lines. Search for F shape. Okay, this one is below the line, so below the line C is equal to 125. Another one, which angle is corresponding to 48? Okay, let's search. This one is above the line, so take F shape, which is in this shape. Okay, so A is equal to 48. These are equal corresponding angles. Okay, let's now review the opposite angles because we need them in our lesson. Here I have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. The vertically opposite angles are in this shape. Don't forget that the vertically opposite angles are equal in measure. Another example, two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Here are vertically opposite angles. They are equal in measures. So also more vertically opposite angles are also equal in measure. Okay? Let's take alternate and corresponding angles together. Two parallel lines cut by a transversal. I will get these angles. Now the questions are, name the pairs of angles that are alternate angles, name the pairs of angles that are corresponding angles. Okay, so I have to search first alternate angles. Okay, they have Z shape. I have only two, this one, so C and E, and this one, D and F. Let's search for corresponding angles. I have this one, F shape, C and G, opposite, D and H, up, F and B, up, E and A. These are equal corresponding angles. Now let's talk about the angles inside a triangle. Don't forget, we took in the previous lesson that the sum of angles in any triangle is equal to 180 degrees. Why do we need this property in this lesson? For also to calculate the angles. The question is, work out the size of angles marked X and Y. I have to calculate X and Y. If we start X by X, we notice that X is found in this triangle, and the sum of angles in any triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So 180 minus 34 plus 100, I will get X equal to 46. Okay? If this one is equal to 46, can you find for me Y? Okay, let's think. Here we don't have parallel lines, so we don't put in your mind we use alternate or corresponding angles. No parallel lines. But here I have a straight angle. So these two angles are adjacent supplementary angles. Their sum is equal to 180 degrees. X is equal to 46. How to calculate Y? 180 minus 46 is equal to 134. Okay? Okay, now let's talk about property 2, which is also an important property. We use this property to prove two lines are parallel, or to show two lines are parallel. Take this figure, okay? Take this figure. I have X, Y, and UV. The properties say that if two of the corresponding angles are equal, if I make calculation of this figure, all the angles, and I can find two angles making corresponding angles, it means I can find two angles having F shape, they are equal, then these two lines are parallel. Notice that this property is converse to the previous property. Converse means opposite, عكسة. Okay, so how to use it? We use it to prove two lines are parallel. Okay, first I have to search for two angles. They could be corresponding or alternate angles. Any two angles having F shape or Z shape, if I find these two angles and these two angles are equal, then these two lines are equal. Okay, example. These two lines are parallel, the orange lines. Why? Because if you notice that here I have F shape, 110 is equal to 110 because a pair of corresponding angles are equal. Okay, another example. These two lines are also parallel, the orange lines. Why? If you notice that I have here like Z shape. Okay, these two lines are parallel because a pair of alternate interior angles are equal. So to show two lines are parallel, I have first to calculate the angles using vertically opposite angles, or I can use supplementary angles, or I can use the sum of angles in any triangle is equal to 180 degrees. Then I have to search for two equal alternate angles or for two corresponding angles. It means I have to search for two angles making F shape or Z shape. Then I can show these two lines are parallel. Okay, thank you very much. This time I just want to review all the information or all the ideas about the lesson. Next time I'm going to correct the exercises. You already solved exercise 3 and self-evaluation A and B. Thank you very much. Bye bye.